Well, welcome back, everyone, here to the Vision Maker podcast. So, this week we're going to take a deep dive into the world of live production. And I am here with a production director, Caleb. Caleb, would you like to introduce yourselves to the audience?
What's going on, guys? My name is Caleb Neely. I'm the director of production for a live event production company called Conquest. Got some gear on right here. So, yeah, happy to be here and happy to talk about production.
That's awesome, man. No, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
It's been a pleasure actually being able to work with you in the past couple events. Just alongside Conquest as we done like our event reels and event highlights for just the same events that you guys are doing the full production. And I've seen you guys go all out, big and small. So it's definitely really cool stuff, and I'm excited to talk about that. But I guess I want to start off really first. It's like, how did you get in this world? How did you come up to really gravitating towards the video side of it, especially?
So, I'm a little spoiled. My dad owns a production company. So, I got a start at a very young age. I was a camera operator. I believe it was in Indianapolis at 8 years old. So it was a show for about I think 5,000 people. I was on a riser with a Panasonic and just following. So 8 years old, I got my start and didn't really look back since then. So been doing summers working for my dad, and then once I kind of got 16, 17, traveling and kind of missing some school, doing some productions, and then once I graduated, traveling all over the place, probably doing 20, 25 events a year, all in different cities. So
Oh, that's
nonstop.
dude, that's the dream. Just like 8 year old. So it was like love at first sight.
You could call it that. Yeah, it was nice because as an 8-year-old, I didn't do much other than run the camera. So I showed up at a different city, got to enjoy the city with my family, go to pools, all that stuff, and then, hey, run this camera. Now it's a little bit more detailed and,
Yeah.
well, get your hands dirty
You
and
you
harder
you've
work,
gone up
so
a couple levels.
there's levels, yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, oh, that's so cool because like right now when I see you, you're really in that director mode. You're not camera opping too much unless it's like the late night or like
Mhm.
slow time, But like you're in Video Village and man, you should just see the setup you got back there all in
It's
that all
intricate, man.
that all-in-one build. Can you just dive into that build, the latest
Yeah,
build you
man.
have?
So we call it the fly pack. It's just all in one. It's a well-oiled machine there. So with our clients, we do a lot of kind of one-man shows. It's just me running everything video in the video village, or I have a V2 who either runs PTZs for me or kind of uh, checks on streaming, that kind of things. Just right hand man, not necessarily calling cameras or everything because it is all built in there. It's kind of hard to delegate those kind of jobs because it's all right there on top of me. But yeah, so our all our shows are kind of the same. We got PowerPoint, we got video rolls, we have live camera shoots. So I'm switching with a Black Magic just in between PowerPoint back to live, or the speaker ends, we do video roll, logo. So it's basically just a well-oiled machine that all of those cues and moves are at my fingertips. So
Dude, I love it. And I think one point I think some people undervalue sometimes, especially when it comes to production and like what they see, like, you guys running around. I have my own prediction. Wow, that's a word. No, experience and on the audio side because I've worked a lot of audio for live
oh, have you?
events. Yeah. And as an audio engineer, that's what I actually used to do before going to video. I was an audio
Oh, wow.
engineer for like 10 years. But yeah, communication I think is so huge. And I hear you guys on the comm sometimes and how like if how valuable effective communication between the team can be.
I'd rather over communicate than under communicate for sure.
Yeah, can you just talk about that dynamic and how you guys kind of tackle that and like really instill proper communication in your team?
Yeah, so like we've talked before, I'm a freelance guy as well. I'm full time with Conquest, but when Conquest doesn't have shows back to back or anything, I'll pick up jobs doing other things as well. So I've worked with a lot of technical directors. I've worked with a lot of show callers, and I'm not being biased, but my dad's the best one there is. I mean, he is so intricate. He knows a walk-in song at the second, so he brings it to that second. He lets the A1 know that all right. Get ready for audio cue, go audio cue. He lets lighting director know, get ready and go. Or roll video. So everything is just, and we don't, there's a lot of big companies that give you a script. Basically, you can read along with the whole 2-hour program. We don't get those. So it's kind of just kind of off the cuff and feel it. And he calls every move and makes our jobs a lot easier. But yeah, we definitely communicate a lot. I communicate with camera ops, letting them know what I need or what to go to next, and it's definitely uh, a big perk to communicate because then you're kind of, we're all winging it a little bit. That's just how live events are, but it's better to wing it with a plan in place.
Yeah, or at least a framework, some form of
Yeah,
like
something.
structure to the building.
Yep. Because if we're all just winging it on our own winging terms, however you want to describe that, it gets messy and it can go south in a hurry.
You start to realize how different people actually think from each
Oh
other
yeah,
real quickly.
everybody's got a different thought process going on.
Isn't that crazy to it? Like in our field, especially, I feel it's the same in audio, it's the same in video, in technical fields like this, creative fields. There are so many ways to accomplish the same task. It could
Oh
be
yeah,
so vastly different. I'm like, oh, yeah, I've done 10 years of audio, but I'll walk up to a soundboard and it's configured so
yeah.
different. I'm like, I have
I was
no
about to
idea what's
say that.
happening.
I was about to say that because video, you can kind of put stuff in different areas, but if you're switching, you got all your inputs. I can sit at somebody's switcher and
More or
get around.
less. Yeah.
It's audio, man, audio and lighting. It depends on how that dude created the show, created the mix, the matrix, all that kind of stuff. You can get lost, and you can be a pro, but you can get lost real quick.
Yeah, real quick, because sometimes they learn that one thing that they may work or it just works for them that you
It's just a
never came
funky little
across.
thing. Yep.
Oh man, no, that's true. Yeah, with like videos, at least you have that little bit of grace that more or less you're sticking with the
Yep.
same
We
quality.
need all our feeds, all our inputs, and it's going. Now, if you have certain kind of things with different switchers, if you have one screen doing one thing, another doing, that's when you can kind of get a little hairy. But for
Yeah,
basic video setups, we have the output, inputs, what's going out. There you go.
yeah,
Punch them.
exactly. Um, One thing I'm interested in hearing, so it's like as someone who now has a bunch of experience calling out cameras, and I know it's like between you and your dad, you kind of go back and forth with the decision
Hmm.
making, but I know like right now you're a big part of that, and then you kind of collab back and forth. Um, what's kind of like now the mindset, especially because you guys do a lot of speaking engagements and stuff, so it's pretty much just one subject for almost an hour and he's just standing there or walking around, or maybe he's just at the podium the entire time, you
Yeah.
know? And but you have to make calls, and it's like, so I know some people they develop a rhythm or they look for certain cues or different things like that. Like for you, what's your mindset when you're calling cameras during those types of things, or you're just picking the switches at those types of times?
It really depends on the type of show, type of energy, all that kind of thing. I definitely like to high energy stuff. I like to switch, but for me, there's definitely a point that you overcut. You don't let shots develop. You don't let kinda the shot build, and you
Mm-hmm.
just cut, and then when people are looking at screens, it gets a little messy.
Yeah,
It's
especially
it's
if it's a
just
low energy type of guy.
yeah, so I definitely like to switch it up, kinda keep the crowd engaged with different shots, but then again, if a speaker's up there for an hour just talking at the podium, I mean, you gotta live in that shot.
Yeah,
That's the main shot. Camera 1 is that's that head to torso or the torso,
yeah.
head to waist. That's the money maker there. That's the best shot you got. So, you don't wanna mess with it too much, but you still kinda gotta get that happy medium of still switching it up, but not just like, "Oh my gosh, man, he's standing right there. Why are we looking at different angles every 5 seconds?"
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I guess this energy level, that's a good way to look at it,
Yeah.
definitely. And then, but you're also balancing viewer fatigue because they can't.
Those eyes can get tired, man.
Yeah, so you need like something to like spark life back into them. But of course, you can't overdo it if it's not matching the energy.
Yeah, because 'cause I've seen, like, a lot of jib shots,
Yeah.
lot of like, track cams and stuff like that, and you let the jib shot last for a second, it's like, then it just looks like a stationary camera way up there. You're
Yeah.
not letting the jib do what it's meant to do.
Yeah. let it breathe.
Yeah.
As I've heard, yeah.
Yep, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. You know what's funny? We kind of came into the same question. I feel like in the live sense, it reflects a lot like the studio and sometimes in the edit room when you're doing like, video production in that sense. Where I found myself, we did a concert last night actually,
Oh, yeah?
and I found myself with the question of like, as I was on the tracking cam and we were getting like the different moments, and I found myself always like constantly kind of like trying to feel out the energy, saying like, am I holding this shot too long, or should I be, or am I missing something? I should just move. I just got to this shot, so it's like, is like 10 seconds enough, or should I be like here for like get the
Then you start
full?
overthinking it, and you're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, man, just get a shot," you know?
Yeah. So it's just like, as I'm thinking, I'm like, I'm holding this shot for now until I could
Yep.
figure out, but
Till I
it's
make up my mind, then I'll move.
exactly. I guess you feel like that sometimes too, right?
Yeah, I mean, especially when I run camera too, there are thoughts that go through your head like that where it's like but then again, for me at least, I'm a people pleaser. I like to try my own thing, but I don't get too crazy when I have a camera caller telling me what to do.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's like you try and do other things, but it's like you don't wanna be called out left and right, like, "Okay, just stay on this shot," because it's like now you kinda called out. So
Yeah.
yeah, you try and get a little I've done a couple, music festivals as a camera op years ago,
Oh,
and
nice.
it's fun to get different shots like that, especially when you're on a 7, 8 camera shoot where it's like, I'm just having fun, and that's the camera caller and the camera director's job just to see what he likes.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you can have 1,000 of those thoughts in a day just running camera, man.
Yeah. Another thing that I'll actually, do you have any particular event, gig, or like experience that particularly sticks out in your mind that's pretty memorable for being exciting, or just a crazy story in that aspect?
Man, I got a lot of ones. It's exciting, it's fun, it's just different types. I mean, I've worked a fan fest for Xbox, which we were running all the graphics, all the trivia that everyone was watching on their phones or laptops. We're running that from Charlotte, North Carolina, but they're doing it in California,
Mm.
at the T-Mobile Arena, I believe it was.
Oh,
So it's
wow.
like we're doing all that. We're getting all the feeds from a vMix rig there, and we're shooting it out online. So it was so intricate and it was very fun. But man, done some
That's
done
pretty
some
insane.
concerts. It was crazy, man. It was a lot going on. We were talking on Unity, so we could talk to people basically clear comm across the country. So yeah, it
Unity.
was yeah.
Yeah.
So you can talk on your phone, you could talk on your laptop, iPad. So I had a couple laptops set up. I had my iPad there. I just pressed the button and talk in my headphones, AirPods, and clear comm to someone in Los Angeles. So it was crazy, man. That was definitely probably the most intricate one I've done where a little above my pay grade. I'm happy that other people were there to kind of talk me through it because I had never done anything like that. I'm a live event guy where all right, we're getting all these screens up, we're getting all the feeds out to different rooms, and we're doing wireless this, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Now you're talking about all right, we're commuting to a different vMix rig across the country and then shooting this vMix rig out to all the online subscribers, whatever you want to describe them as, viewers.
Mm-hmm.
And once they do a trivia question, all right, and hit that graphic to pop up the correct answer. And it was getting live polls in and then building the slide for it to put it out. It
Wow.
was crazy, man. It
Wow.
was days and days of rehearsals and long nights. It was fun, but definitely stressful, and so
It's
I
so
just have so
interest
many of those.
it's just so interesting that they would go through that much effort to just do it across the country, like
Dude,
have
I
like
can't
why
tell you.
not do it in house at that point?
I had so many questions, like, why the heck did they not just, like, hire a company out there?
Yeah, just like
It's
someone who
way
can
too much
hardline
work.
connect. You're already doing a VMix rig
Yep.
just to send it like
We flew the
literally the other
vMix
half.
rig out. We
Oh, you
didn't
did.
have
That
yeah,
was your VMix rig.
we flew it out. They had it there, we had a tech there to basically make sure everything was good on his end for what we're sending him,
Yeah.
and
And they didn't want to just fly the rest of you.
that's a lot of gear to fly out there.
That's true.
But yeah, it was crazy, man. It was definitely a little bit of overkill. but it was
Yeah.
cool. It was cool to be a part of, that's for sure.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Cool, cool, cool. Oh, here's a good one. I always like to hear any one of those like those stories where it's like it's kind of like because it happens in live production all the time where it's like, oh, everything's about to fall apart. And and you have to come up with like the craziest workaround.
So
Yeah.
I call that having to put out fires, and
Yeah.
I am a little bit of a firefighter sometimes on events. I definitely got to put out fires. A lot of the one that always gets me, man, and it's kind of a joke that I have with my crew as well. It's reseating cables or power cycling, where you can't quite understand why something lost feed, but all you had to do is unplug it and replug it in, and bam, you got it. And that's sometimes what clients don't understand, that that happens in live events. There's some
Mhm.
stuff that's just unexplainable. I've lost a projector and looking at my feeds, everything's good. I still got the green light on my converter, or I still have the light, the LED light on my converter. Unplug it, lose the light, plug it back in, same light, and I have feed now. So it's like there's some things that it makes us look bad because if you lose a projector for a second, but it's those mind-boggling ones where it's like, "Why the heck did that happen?"
Yeah, I call it the ghost in the machine.
Yep.
Because I think it happens to all of us if you're around long enough. Not even a little bit. It's
Yeah,
like
you
you
could be
start,
around for 6 months, and it's happened several times already.
yeah, because it's like, yeah, and you're right. Sometimes it's just a power cycle and then it's back to normal. There's zero explanation. All the parts are good. And sometimes you just have to bypass something. It's like, yeah, this
Yep.
thing's just not working. I don't know why. Let's just figure out a way around it and try to finagle it later and see what's wrong with it. And then of course later
Yeah.
you go to look at it and it's just working perfectly fine.
Yeah, like, I don't have, another thing, I don't have much problems with black magic converters
Yeah.
until they run into an HP. They don't HP
Mm.
doesn't like, so then I gotta pop in a decimator on those. That's something that I now have living with those monitors. But it's like, first time doing that, it's like, "Okay, let me is it the cable?
It's
Nope, not the
just
cable." It's just it's weird things like that, I mean, where it works on everything,
yeah.
but it doesn't like the HPs. So then you're loading in, and now you're trying to think about it. I'm like, okay, let me get another converter. We have 1,000 Blackmagic converters, so let me get another one, and then cross converter, all that stuff. It's like, all right, never mind. Let me do a decimator, clean feed. So it's
That's
just those little things that I don't know the specifics on. I don't know the technicality of what's in that mechanism that doesn't want to communicate, but everybody's got a story.
oh yeah. I mean, one of my most memorable ones, I think I mentioned this one before, was I did a live sound event for a band and I was running their system and they just bought a crossover for their mains, right? And so okay, I plug it in, I wire it all up, and then halfway through the night, out of nowhere, I lost my mains. Just
Oof.
they're just gone, and I'm just like, what is happening? The crossover seems fine, everything seems fine, the signal's still there, they're still playing, they're mid song. Thankfully their monitor mix is so blaring loud that the crowd was still dancing,
Yeah.
and I was like,
No
where
one
did
noticed it. That's a good thing.
yeah, I was like, where did all my top end go? I was like, and
Oh.
I go up on my seat. I was like, yeah, the speakers they're just not, there's no sound coming in. So I was like, I pushed a couple buttons, I checked my connections, that didn't work. So I was like, okay, I'm bypassing this crossover, which means I have to reroute this so that it's a
Mhm.
daisy chain feed instead of a crossover wiring. If you're familiar, if you know, you know.
Yep.
Um, and so I just ran and did that. I just remember the singer. I took one of their monitors, I pointed it towards the crowd, and I just remember the singer singing, looking at me. I'm like, I got this. I'm
Just
like,
give me a minute.
it's good. It's good. He sees me turning off
You're
all the
sweating.
like turning off all the mains. I'm trying to get around drunk people, and I'm and then boom, boom, turn them back on before the end of the song. Bring down my mains, bring them slowly back up, and we were back off to the races. But sometimes it's like, yeah, like you said, it's like they don't know, they don't understand that things sometimes just don't want to work, and you
I
gotta.
mean, troubleshooting is a thing for a reason, and everybody's gotta do it. There's something's gonna happen that you gotta troubleshoot.
It's one of the biggest things I think for production in general, both live and not, is just can you troubleshoot? You know, how quickly can you
And it's
figure out?
hard to learn to troubleshoot unless you've been through it. There's not stuff that, like, you just sit down and there's a crash course on troubleshooting. It's until you really encounter it that you figure out, "Alright, this is This is the thing. This is the fix for it. Now
Unfortunate.
you know, but
Yeah, I feel like there's two parts to troubleshooting. Um, it's experience because that's how you know these weird things.
mhm.
And then second thing is just really having an understanding of signal flow. If you can,
Yeah,
if
that's
you,
definitely a big part of it.
yeah, if you understand where all the points of failure is possibly, and you know how to quickly think through them, and then that really helps you kind of narrow down at least where the problem is.
Yeah, it can kinda help you pinpoint it,
Yeah,
but
but
you gotta go through it to be
yeah,
able to do it.
that's the biggest thing about getting experience and just getting your feet wet. You know?
It's
Uh,
definitely a hands-on job, like, you it's not just something that you can just yeah, I've watched a lot of YouTube videos, I mean, you can learn a lot through YouTube and through kinda people telling you how to do it or how what they do, all that kinda stuff, but you don't know until you get your hands in there and figure out what the problem was.
nice. No, 100%. Here's another thing. You guys, since now that you guys, you have your team, and I've seen different guys work with you and this and that, and you pretty much help lead the team with your father. Um, Now being in that position, because like you said, you've been a part of the team for such a while, but now that you
Mhm.
guys really manage the team together and direct, one of your philosophies on bringing on new people into this environment, and like maybe some like just pointers that you would give people, or just like how do you feel about like when you're bringing on delegating tasks and how you kind of judge that? Because I know some people are very micromanagey, some people are like they're not very good at leaving off the reins, but some people
I
also are
see,
like,
I'm
here's
not
the
great
deep
at
end,
that.
here's the
Yeah,
deep
I'm
end,
not
this is
great
where
at
I'm
it,
at.
like, every show we have, we bring in a bunch of stagehands, and I'm not great at delegating
Yeah,
because I hate not dogging out stagehands. I've met great stagehands, and I've met not great stagehands.
yeah,
But it's very hard to troubleshoot, to track back what went wrong when you had other people do it, because it's not fresh in your mind on how it was ran or because I mean, live events, you got cables everywhere, man. So now I gotta track,
mm-hmm,
just gotta keep walking a 150-foot SDI cable to figure out where he ran it.
yeah.
It's just there's stuff that I got trust issues on, but
I think we
yeah,
all do.
oh yeah, it's it's basically I let my people kinda place the stuff, I let them put up screens, and then I basically do all the technical stuff. I do set up the whole fly pack, I run all my cables, I'll have my V2 run cable sometimes, because I trust him, he
Yeah,
knows, and a lot of times I can kinda get a feel of a stagehand if they know, but
yeah,
sometimes if it's just kind of a green stagehand where they're just, "Hey, I'm here. They gave me the call. I'm pretty new." It's like, "All right, go help with pipe and drape. I'll call you in a minute."
yeah,
So, but basically to for your question with the team, it's like we talked about earlier, communication's key. I mean, you gotta over communicate. You gotta make the person not just dive into the deep end. 'Cause, again, it's live events, it can get messy in a second.
yeah,
If you miss cues as an audio guy, that's a show killer, man. I mean, a split second of dead air feels like a minute and a half to everybody on the staff because it's
yeah.
like you missed your cue, that seemed like an eternity of silence.
Oh yeah,
So, you definitely gotta over communicate, gotta let them know when the ins are, when the outs are, um, make them feel comfortable. We joke around a lot, man. We like to joke around, kinda pick on people. That's just it's just fun being a part of the crew traveling. We go out to dinner, we hang out, um, but also not to take stuff personal.
mm,
It's live events. You kinda get in the heat of the moment, get amped when something doesn't go wrong, or gotta let that brush it off, and we're all good. We just gotta be better. So, there's some people who don't like that, and there's some people who handle that pretty well. I handle it pretty well. I get it internally. It's my dad, so he can yell at me. Me and my dad, we'll get like that, but we're good.
yeah,
It's it's
yeah.
part it's part of the thing. There's some people who kinda wanna bite back, but it's like, "Hey, if Tim's telling you a cue and you're missing it, you gotta just roll with it, get better next time."
Yeah. Don't
That's
take it.
basically what it
It's
comes
not a
down to.
personal attack. It's a
Yeah,
we are trying to get a job done. You know.
yep. We gotta make this the best thing it can be, so let's just get better, brush it off your shoulder, and don't miss the next cue. Easy as that, and we're all happy.
Yeah, it's funny. My drum teacher used to say a lot was that it's not about making a mistake. Yeah, you may miss a note or this or that. It's about how long did that mistake last?
Mhm.
Because you get in your own head. And it's like what you do. Well, at least with playing drums, what you don't realize is that when you get in your own head from missing that one beat, every single beat after that, the longer you stay in your head, you're getting more and
Mhm.
more thrown off. It's like, oh, I missed that one, but I'm on the next one. I'm good. That's it.
Yep.
And it's same in live because it's like live production, like music, it's going. It's not waiting for you.
Yeah, because if you don't have a clear mind, you're gonna make some more mistakes. Just clear your mind and keep rolling. Because 'cause I've done that before. I've had to, because the way we do it as well, we have the speaker timer in
Hmm.
our inputs, so
Yeah.
the multi-view for production monitors can see how much time's left.
Yeah.
I've been guilty. I hit that a hotkey, just switching cameras real quick, and hit that on accident and had to switch out real quick, and I hate that, and it pisses me off.
Yeah.
And I take it with me for a couple minutes, but man, it's over. It's hopefully they didn't recognize it. If they did, that sucks, but it's not a show killer right there when you're punching real quick. You can watch TV and you can see a miss punch.
Oh, yeah.
It happens. It happens to the best of them. So you just gotta brush it off and roll with it, man. It's make sure it doesn't happen often
Yeah.
and try not to let it happen again, but you can't kill yourself on a mistake.
No, 100%. And I think that's so important, especially in live, because it's like you said, people get emotional, people get heated. And I've heard it myself. I've been on the receiving end, you know, and it's like you said, it's learning to understand it's not a personal thing. No one's personally attacking. Everyone's
Nope.
just trying to get a job done. Sometimes people have more colorful language than others.
Yeah. And
And
that's the thing you gotta be aware of as well. It's like because you don't know what people how people take things.
yeah,
So if a person doesn't drop F bombs all the time and you're just dropping F bombs on because you say it like a verb, that's gonna hit someone differently
uh-huh,
than it is for you because it's just another word for you. If someone that has a lot of weight to that word, that can piss some people off or kinda they're done with you after that point or they don't wanna work with you anymore where it's like, we just gotta keep it professional. You can get heated, keep it clean, just kinda
yeah,
get what you wanna
100%.
say off your chest, but still keep it respectful.
No, 100%. I think that that comes with self-awareness. I don't think there's ever a place to go past that disrespectful point, you know. And I like one thing I think I always think about it. If you have to question it, just don't say it.
Yeah.
You know,
That's the problem, though, sometimes it just leaves.
it
You
just
don't even
goes.
yeah, you don't even question it, doesn't even hit the filter, it just leaves you
Yeah.
right away.
Yeah, but always it's always good too. Like after it's like, hey bro, my bad. I got a little heated, you
Yeah,
know.
you always gotta do that.
Yeah,
You
you know.
kinda gotta reconvene
Especially
and
if you
just be like,
let
"Hey, man."
yourself go, just like, hey, you know. Either way, the rest of the night was great.
Yeah. Hey, it
Yeah.
was a great show, my fault on that one part, but we did good.
Yeah. I've
But, yeah,
definitely
you just kinda gotta have reassurance that, "Hey, man, n nothing personal was meant by it, my fault, but just this is how I like to do things, it wasn't done like that, shouldn't have reacted like that, but we're good." And
nice.
then you're good.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Um, Now how do you so we were talking a little bit before about it, but like your view on because you said you've done a few studio things too, and then but your world is really live on the
Mhm.
live production sense and doing these big conferences, thousands of people and small ones too of a couple hundred and everything in between. But like you said, you've done the studio stuff. How do you feel about both, and more so, why do you like live more versus the studio?
I like live more, I guess, because 'cause I'm more comfortable with it. Been doing it forever. Uh, I really liked studio work. It was pretty simple. Basically, you build out all your stuff, you can dress like this and just kinda hang out in the studio because I worked with a company who was kinda laid back. I mean, we didn't have to dress in all blacks, there was no client there was no Zoom calls. We were just kinda hanging out like this and just do your job. So it was definitely fun to do, but live is you're in it, man. Like it's nonstop, it's go, 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 and you can feel the energy of the crowds. You feed off that energy a little bit. It's fun to switch when a DJ's on stage. It's fun to do that kind of stuff. 'Cause that's what I love corporate. I don't like concerts much. The tempo and the attitude is much different in my experience.
Mm.
Corporate's more laid back attitude-wise. It's still go, go, go because it's a live event, but it's not dropping F-bombs left and right and calling somebody out and yelling at people. I've had I've heard there's great crews to work with musically. I have heard that. But the 4 or 5 that I've worked, it's just been like, "Man, there's just too much drama. We're just working. We got a job to do. There's no need for bumping chests and, like, yelling at each other," and I've gotten in a couple of I haven't, but I've gotten in a couple of those things where I'm looking at dudes and one guy says something wrong to another guy, he takes it, and now they're yapping back and forth where it's like, "Man, I'm here to work, and it doesn't have to be that complicated."
Yeah.
So, I definitely like corporate stuff. I like when corporate stuff brings energy. It's a different crowd, it's still fun, high energy, and you feed off that, and the weekends go by quicker when it's higher energy.
Oh yeah, yeah. Especially if you got a good lineup of speakers and this and
Yep,
that. 100
and that's
percent.
that's why I love corporate that's bang, 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 they're quick and excuse me, it's not an hour and a half keynote, and sometimes keynotes are great. Like, they can be an hour and a half, and they're great speakers. Sometimes keynotes where it's like,
Yeah.
"This is a long hour and a half, man."
Yeah, somehow some people can have this ability to stretch time.
Oh,
The
yeah.
more they speak, somehow
It's like,
time
"It's
just
gotta
gets
be an
slower.
hour. It's only been 15 minutes. Okay." But, yeah, it's fun to have variety. It
Yeah.
keeps you on your toes. It's a what I always say is I love what I do because it's the same thing, but it's different every time. I do live events. We have the same gear go out on shows, but it's a different group. It's a different attendance. It's a different stage setup. It's a different camera positions. It's still something different that you're not learning every time out, but you're experiencing new things and keeping you on your toes. So it's fun, man.
No. Yeah, no, 100% agreed. No, that's great. Now, one thing be interesting to hear is like on kind of like on your beliefs on like maybe if you're talking to a client, let's say, or to someone who's asking about like live streaming, but like at the level that you guys do, um it's like what are some like key essentials that you guys almost require to have to make, just promise a good live stream event, you know, that people might not be thinking about.
Now you mean like for our live events if they
Yeah.
want to stream it as well. Okay.
Yeah.
It's funny, man. A lot of times people don't understand that you need a hard line. It's it's crazy because it's common knowledge for us, but it's also crazy how much a hotel or convention center charges for that hard line. So that can kind of deter people from live streaming as well.
No,
And
it's crazy.
you don't want to live stream without a hard line. It's you better just not live stream at all rather than doing it off
Yeah.
volunteer or complimentary Wi-Fi or getting a Wi-Fi login from the event, which is still going to cost you an arm and a leg. It's like there's definitely all convention centers or ballrooms. If you have a Cat 5 drop, it's going to be high enough speed, so you don't really have to worry about that. But it's just you got to know that you need one, and that's got to be budgeted properly. Other than that, I mean, it's pretty much what do you want? If it's just a clean feed of what the screen's seeing, that's easy.
Yeah.
Let me pop out of my switcher and go into a capture card and send it
Boom.
out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically the extent we do is just live
Yeah.
feed whenever someone's at home or we've done a stream for the nursing mother's room. So way too long away for a cable run, so we just do a stream.
Yeah.
And that's good there because it's just showing what everyone else is seeing, but remotely. So, yeah, it's crazy to think that people don't know that you need a Cat 5. That's one thing that I've noticed a lot.
Yeah. We've been starting to notice that too because we do a lot of more small scaled live streams for like the museum events and different things like that. And it's the same conversation about like, hey, is there a hard line? And then they're like, no, but we got great Wi-Fi.
Incorrect.
Yeah, do not pass go. Do not collect
Yeah.
$200. Um, no, yeah, exactly. And it's such it's a small thing, but it's really like it's a make or break because
Oh, yeah, it's a deal
Wi-Fi
breaker,
is
man.
so unpredictable, and especially once you put a room full of people, even then, and everyone's trying to get on the Wi-Fi, especially if it's like that's the only Wi-Fi available.
Oh, man.
It,
Game over.
yeah, not possible. Um, but yeah, no, and it's interesting. I mean, it makes total sense, but it's interesting finding out that like hotels are so like tight with giving
Mhm.
out a hard line and everything. But it's because they know you need it, and they know you will pay for it if you want it.
Yeah, if you need to live stream,
Yeah,
then you're gonna pay them what they require, so
yeah,
there's not many deals given out by convention centers or ballrooms. Never.
they see it coming. That's the thing.
Yep.
Um, do you guys? I'm curious because since you guys are in the live event space, I mean, you've been in it for years at this point. Like you said, you got started at 8 years old.
Yeah,
Um,
Conquest started in '93,
well,
so
that's the
we're
year I was born.
hey, there you go.
There we go. So as long as I've been alive, got it. Um, I was gonna say, what did you guys? So how did you guys treat COVID? Did you guys make a pivot? Just take a break? Like how did you guys ended up
I was
going
wondering
full?
if that question was gonna come up.
Just because with the live events, I know what it did for me because I was primarily in live events before COVID. So I'm curious to see what the story was like for you guys.
I mean, full transparency, Conquest basically went out of business during COVID.
Wow.
None of our client we didn't really have studio work. We don't have clients that really did virtual stuff.
Hmm.
We did some I won't say we went out of business. We did about we had one client that did 2 streaming things where they had a couple people in a big room, and we still did the kinda wow factor of that, but, I mean, we went from doing 25 shows a year to I think in 2020 we did 2?
Damn.
Actually,
Yeah.
that's a lie. 2020 is before it all went
Yeah.
downhill. We were we were doing shows and then it went downhill in, like, March, I
Yeah.
think, of
March
2020.
2020
So,
kind
yeah,
of did this.
we had a busy January, and then we had, like, 2 events in March when everything started shutting down, and then we had, like, 2 events in March cancel, and then, like, "Okay, what's going on?" Like, we're canceling because of this? And then we have May that's a big month. April, that's a huge month. So it's like stuff started getting canceled. Like, well, we're just gonna postpone it. It's gonna be a couple months, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay. And then when month 2 went by, when month 3 went by, 4, 5, it's like, okay, what is going on here?
Yeah.
So I was basically just unemployed for 5 months because I was kind of hanging on hope that it's coming back. It's all good. This is just a little bump in the road. It sucks,
They
but
said
we'll be
2 weeks.
back. Yeah. 2 weeks to slow the curve and we'll be back. But yeah, man, we didn't do anything, dude. My dad
Man.
went and worked somewhere else. I went and worked somewhere else because there's only so long that you can kinda just
Yeah, of course.
go off what you have. Not many people can go a year just not working.
No, no, of course.
It's a little tough. So, yeah, we did other things, man, and then once, what, 2020 end of 2021, we started basically getting back to back to business and like nothing happened really. So, now
Okay.
2022 was busy and 2023 is probably the busiest we've ever been, so
Amazing. Yeah, because now everyone's like, okay, we're
they're
set. I
trying to
think
get
we're
some
good.
events done,
I'm
man.
like, I think we need to catch up, man.
Yep. I
No,
mean, they didn't have butts in seats for 2 years. They gotta start getting people back in the seats.
yeah, I mean, it's the same. I think in all event industries. I mean, that's kind of like what happened with weddings because everybody had weddings those years and they
Mm.
rescheduled them all. So it's like triple, quadruple the amount coming back
Oh,
from
yeah.
it. You know,
So it's a nice influx of business, but it's like, you
you,
know what you went through to get this influx of business. It was tough, man.
yeah. So you guys really, and it sounds like you guys hunkered down till till things picked right back up.
Yeah, I actually worked in life insurance, man, during COVID, so
Okay,
masked up, selling people life insurance and loved it,
do what you
but
got to do.
once production came back, I was like,
all
Alright,
for it.
I'm in. So, yeah, it's we've been getting busier and busier, and thank God for it 'cause that year and a half, it was tough for a lot of people.
Oh no, 100%, 100% for a lot of us. It was a bizarre time period.
Oh, yeah. Something that we'll definitely tell our grandkids about one day. What in the heck was 2020?
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely a title.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man, what was it? Wasn't that? No, it was like, and they thought 2012 was going to be the weird year.
Oh, yeah. It's like Y2K, all that stuff's like nothing tops 2020.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, oh, so now that you guys are coming back and everything, what's kind of like some of the direction you feel like you're personally want to go in? Like, what's your ambitions for the future? What's kind of like the end goal you see?
I mean, I wanna take over Conquest one day. I love this work, so I definitely wanna have my own hands on it, and, I mean, my dad's gonna be around for a while, so it's whenever he doesn't wanna do it anymore, I got my hands out, and I'm blessed to be in that situation.
Family
Um,
business right there.
yep, I love it. But basically our kinda short-term goals right now is we're looking to tap into the local market, kinda getting some more easy gigs for slow months and
Small,
just
the
yeah,
smaller
cause
little,
all our stuff, man, it's a packed truck and going to different cities. It'd be nice a little change of pace just to kinda pop it in the van, go to a ballroom and do something small or something for a couple 100 people here and there locally.
yeah.
Easier work and not huge crews and driving to different cities, so that's my short-term goal, trying to get some more clients locally and around the east. We do a lot of stuff East Coast, but around North and South Carolina, Virginia, just stuff close by.
Okay. Nice, nice. Yeah, that's it's interesting to hear, because it's like usually people are thinking like we want to go bigger. But you guys are pretty much you're pretty big with the events you guys do, a
Yeah.
couple thousand or tens of thousands of people, and so it's like you're on the
Yeah,
second
our
like
largest one we've had this year so far was 8,000, so, I mean, that's a pretty big gig, and
yeah,
I
so
just like to fill in some gaps because, hey, man, if you got a lot of small fish, that's equals
yeah,
a big fish, so there's a lot of companies that I know that kinda toss those people to the side because 'cause they're not huge paying gigs or it's like, man, you still got love on those clients, though. They're still clients of yours. They put their trust in you. They
yeah.
do all that. Just you gotta
These little
and it's easy.
mid-tier fillers, we all need a little
Yep.
bit of fillers on that, and I think we all do it to an extent in different industries, you know. So. Do you find yourself now way more hands-on in the business side too?
Yeah, definitely getting there. Yeah. Kinda logistics, that kinda thing. Um, Definitely more in the shop now, QC and stuff, just kinda getting my own hands on it and making sure everything's updated, working properly, packed properly, easy for loading the truck and unloading the
Yeah.
truck and all that kinda stuff, so all the trucking kinda falls on me, um, all that kinda stuff. So, yeah, we're growing. It's growing pains, but
Hey,
it's good pains to have because 'cause you're growing, so
no, that's good. That's good. You guys probably have your own warehouse and everything too, right?
yep,
Yeah. So no, yeah, because I've seen, like I said, I've seen a couple different size rigs between the different events when like
yeah,
those combined conferences are much larger than some of the independent conferences,
yep,
and and it's like I don't think what also like realize is like with your company, you guys do everything. You guys have the full sound, the full lighting package, and video village,
everything.
and then the new PTZs. That's how you guys got.
They're beautiful, man.
No, yeah, they were so crisp compared to the older PTZs. It blew me away how much they're even crisper than your full fledged Panasonics that you had for camera one.
It's crazy, man, because it gets a little hairy. I don't like PTZs necessarily maxing out the zoom because it's
Yeah,
digital zoom, so
yeah,
you lose quality. So I basically place those 4K where they're at optimum. It's
yeah,
all the way zoomed out. It's got perfect framing. I'll zoom in just a hair or
yeah.
whatever just to reframe, but it's not working on that digital zoom where it gets a
Mm.
little out of focus or a little pixelated because you start seeing those pixels.
Yeah.
on digital Zoom, but yeah, man, we get them in a good spot where they're beautiful. They are beautiful, and they're only I think they're 4 years newer than the PTZs that we had prior, and it's just night and day difference.
Yeah. The
Both Panasonics, but it's head and shoulders above.
Man, yeah, no, the technology is getting crazy, especially even at the like the prosumer level and different things like that. Because it's like I've set goals like a year, 2 years ago, different things like that. It's like, oh, this is something we're gonna get, saving up for it. It's like this much, and then it's like now I'm seeing things coming out for like a quarter of the price
It's
and can
crazy,
blow it
man.
away. And I'm like,
You look at
what
10
is
years ago
this?
for switchers, now you can buy like a $900 Blackmagic ISO and record 4 different cameras. It's like, come on, for like
And
900 bucks.
it makes the Da Vinci Project for you too.
It's ridiculous, man. It's like 10 years ago, you had a data video switcher that you had 4 inputs, and it's like, good lord.
Thousands of dollars just for
Yeah, $2,500 for a cheap switcher.
the
Now
thing
you can
was
get a
like
great one.
40 pounds.
Yep. You had to have a big old road case or a ginormous Pelican that weighed 100 pounds. But,
Um,
yeah, I mean, it's rapidly growing, and it's a good thing, but
any piece of
it's
tech you're particularly excited for? Maybe upgrading to?
I've been looking we're in a lighting phase right now, so we're
Mm,
looking at lighting. I really like it's not like a sales pitch here, like, but Chave has
hmm.
grown. That's a company that has grown exponentially in the past decade.
Yeah,
It
they're
used to
pretty
be just kinda
a staple in
DJs.
lighting. Yeah,
Yeah, it used to be just kinda DJ gear, and it kinda was not to be rude or knock down on it. It used to be kind of a joke if someone brought in a bunch of Chave stuff, like, "We're
yeah,
rocking Chaves, really?"
yeah,
But now, I mean, they're battery uplights with the chargeable road cases, all that kind of stuff. That's what I'm looking in for, especially if we tap into the local market, just kind of simple corporate gigs, kind of making a package for that. So I'm looking around for stuff like that. But yeah, we just bought a lot of new movers. So yeah, there's video is good. I'd like to get some bigger screens
mm,
just for some of the 8,000 people. We do a delay screen, but tech-wise, I mean, the switcher that I rock with's great. It's couple like 2 years old.
yeah,
That's just crazy about the technology, though. It's rapidly getting better and better, so it's almost like you bought something 3 years ago, and it's not as good as what you could get now, but it's like, that's just a revolving expense of always upgrading your stuff when this still does the trick.
yeah,
So video is basically built out, and I'm good for that for the next couple of years for the types of shows we do for sure.
yeah,
But basically just upgrading and getting new sound. We just bought a bunch of new, sound and movers, so, yeah, we're definitely looking around, but nothing that I'm crazy excited about video-wise because 'cause I'm basically stuck in my ways on my 5 pack now.
yeah. No, one thing I love is your little stream deck. Um,
That's really nice to have for vMix.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and I know it works with so many different programs and stuff, and most things that can do macros. Um, I think that's something that's like that's interesting that I don't think not maybe many people know, especially if they're just getting into this world and stuff. It's like if you're switching and you're just using the vMix and your switchers or OBS or whatever it may be, it's like there's learning actually getting into and learning macros and working with something like a Stream Deck or one of those other trigger type
You
hardware.
you add to what you know and your little bag of tricks, and it also helps you in the process, so it's a win-win.
Yeah.
I mean, switching because I don't use MIDI, I don't use other playback software, I use vMix as my playback software.
Hmm.
So, I can load all my videos in and basically just switch with that right there, and again, it's something that I know and I'm comfortable with, so I've worked with MIDI a couple times, but I'm not comfortable enough to run a full show off that.
Yeah.
I'm much more comfortable. vMix is reliable. It's leaps and bounds better than what it was, what, 5 years ago too. So
Yeah.
it's just getting better and better. It used to be just be like a church streaming software, and now it's fantastic for live events too, and streaming while you do it. So
Yeah.
it's I'm still learning about vMix. It's got so many ins and outs to it that keeps you on your toes the whole time, and it lets you get more creative because it has so many so many things that you can do with it, so it's fun. And Stream Deck just makes it more fun to build the buttons and
Yeah.
make you have all the little hotkeys right there.
Yeah, and you're pretty quick with it too. At the last event, I saw because it's like you were putting in those lower thirds, the ones that you know you would
Yeah.
repeatedly need, and different runs too. Like, oh, transition to this when I need it, this and that. So
'Cause it's tough to do the overlays too.
yeah.
That what you guys had me doing last time, I was it was a little stressful because it was like, "Alright, I haven't done this on a live show before," but then it was
Mm.
fun when I actually finally got to do it. It was just on a different key there and just was able to just input it there, overlay it, key out the black. It was and it's again, I had to do it quickly, so now I know how to do it, and you gotta go through that kinda stress and all that stuff to nail it in your mind. Because if you're just hanging out doing it, it's not the same effect.
Isn't that amazing though? Someone who's been in basically live production your entire life, we still get hit with something like, well, I've never had to do that before.
Yep.
Today I learned. You think it's like at some point you just know everything. It's like,
Never, man. It's a never-ending cycle of learning new things, and especially the way the technology, all that stuff's growing, and you have a different client. So, something new is gonna hit you than a client that you've been working with for a decade. This
keeps you
every show is
humble.
different, man. Oh, yeah. And I will never be the type of video tech that acts like he knows everything because I know for a fact I don't. Because I work with a lot of video techs that are brainiacs, man. They know everything, and I try and learn and get as much as I can from them. But sometimes it's just I gotta know my mind doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not that technical of a guy that I know all the ins and outs of this switcher can do this and this and this. It's like, that's not how my mind works.
Yeah.
So I'm never gonna be that guy. I'm always open to learn, and you're never gonna stop learning.
Yeah. I find it for me, I always learn best when I actually have to do it
Mhm.
and figure it out. It's like I'll figure it out the first time, but once I actually like in it and do it once, okay, I'm good. Like you said, like I'm good now.
Hands-on experience, man. That's how a lot of people are. You can do as many YouTubes as you want, but once you get behind the wheel, so to speak, that's when you kinda you get that different feeling, and it locks in your brain a lot easier for me.
Yeah, no, it makes sense 100%. Um, so if someone's like looking to get started in live production, let's say, what would you advise them like on how to get started and what to be thinking about?
I mean, I know a lot of people who have gotten started with church, and that's kinda how they get their experience kinda volunteering. Um, so that's how I would say right there, just because I know a lot of people who have gotten a start learning so fast because it's tough to hop into an industry where you're getting paid to do something
Yeah.
and you don't know how to do it. So, stagehand work, I've told a couple people kinda get in there because you can kinda you're all around stagehand, tell me what to do, I'll do it, and then you can kinda find the lane that you wanna go in if you either kinda gravitate towards lighting, if you gravitate towards audio or whatever. Um, Stagehands is definitely a good spot to do because you're gonna be getting work for anybody and everybody. Um, but that's what I would say, man. I would say if you can volunteer for something like that, that has hands-on experience right there that you're not getting paid, so
Yeah.
you're not getting paid as an unexperienced person where you can kinda get called out and get a little overwhelmed, but
Yeah.
and if you're getting paid for it, stagehands is they got consistent work and hands-on, so
Yeah, and for people who like don't necessarily go to church, because I got a lot of my experience too from church, but
yeah.
for people who don't necessarily go to church, you can also think about events that you may be attending anyways, you
Mhm.
know, and sometimes they'll look for
Helping hand.
helping
Nobody's
hand
gonna dec
interns,
yeah.
stuff like that. Like, hey, I just want to volunteer. I want some experience.
It's like, "Just tell me what you guys need, whatever." No one's gonna decline that. I mean, unless you got a well-oiled machine and you don't really you got an
Yeah.
A2, you got a backstage person, you don't need them. But, I mean, you guys have a guy to help us. I mean, a lot of you guys help us. We're never gonna turn down help. Shoot.
Yeah, it
If you guys
makes
wanna step back there in Video Village and ask me questions, all stuff, feel free, man. We're there. I'm not gonna turn you away, you know?
don't worry, I usually do.
Oh, yeah, you're back there. You're checking out my gear.
Yeah. Yeah. No, no, 100%. No, no. It's like you said, and I love your guys' workflow. I think that's the thing. It's like you guys have a real you care, you care about giving a good product, a good experience, and
It's the
you're on
biggest
it
part of
too.
it, man.
You're on it. I mean, I see it in sound and yeah, I see it in all of it. When it's like when it comes to live events, there's always like two types of people. There's the person who kind of like set it and forget it, tunes out for the whole thing.
We've worked with some people like that before. It drives me nuts, man. It's like, we're here to do a job. Might as well do it to the best of your ability, you know? That's what I've grown up with. You do it, whatever you do it to the best of your ability. You do it with some care, and that's definitely what we're all about. We wanna make this the best show that they've seen, or have a certain standard that they know they're gonna get from us when we load in their event.
Yeah, and it's great. And I see you guys just by your example. I mean, every show I see you guys have the same energy level. You're like, oh yeah, this is gonna be cool. We're gonna do this. We're trying this out. This is like, it's like you're amped up. I always see Tim's always telling me about. I was like, oh, check this out. I just got this. Check out
Yep,
this lighting setup. Oh, it's like, how did that look? And he's like always asking me about my videos. It's like, oh yeah, with how the stage looks and everything.
because we gotta make the stage look good for you too. You gotta get all that B-roll stuff, man.
Oh yeah. Oh no, 100. You guys make my job easy. I slap on a little color and it just pops. I'm like,
There you go.
awesome.
But yeah, man, that's definitely what we care about the most. I've worked with techs that kinda, as once he has his area set up, you try and add stuff and he's not for it. It's like, I'm not for it, but I'm gonna do it because you guys want it done. And that's what you're gonna remember us by, that we made it happen. That if, hey, we
Mm-hmm.
want to do this, that speaker's walking on stage right now. We want to roll this video. I might not get it right away, but I'm gonna get it in there for you guys, and we'll play it for you for the speaker. So it's still, people don't know how, if you give me a 5 minute long video, it's gonna take time to transfer
Yeah.
on a USB drive. Give me some USB C something, but
So
on a USB,
help
yeah,
me help you.
3.0, it's gonna take a little time.
Yeah.
So it's just kinda letting them know, like, "I'm gonna get this done for you. It's gonna take a little bit of time," or if they give me 15 pictures and I gotta build a PowerPoint for it, or because now you gotta change settings in there if you just do a preview in Mac, all that kinda stuff. So
Yeah.
we're gonna do our best to make it work, but more time, the better. But if this is what we got, we're gonna make it work for you. And that's definitely not ideal for a lot of people, but for us, we want the client to be happy, so we'll do whatever we can. We'll bend over backwards to make you happy.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. Honestly, the question I literally was just about to ask was how do you deal with clients coming up with those last second ridiculous requests about like, hey,
Like, you can see the smoke coming out of my ears, but I'm super calm, you know?
yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
"Yeah,
like
absolutely, no problem."
well, inside your brain, all your little brain cells are just freaking lighting fires and just like
Sirens going off
flipping
everywhere.
tables, flipping tables nonstop. Um,
Yeah, but, like I said, it's a little frustrating, but it is what it is. I mean,
yeah,
I'm not gonna tell them no. I'm not gonna say that we're not gonna do that. That's you're paying me to be here, so I'm gonna do what, as long as you're okay with the video being late, like, just let the speakers know that they're not gonna get it right now because I'm getting it right now.
mm,
So as long as they're cool with that, it is what it is, man. We roll with the punches. It's a live event. It's
you make it
there's a
work.
curveball thrown at you all the time, so we're gonna try and hit out of the ballpark. So
Yeah. And you deal with the emotions, but you just get the job done. That's the thing. It's like you said, you're here
yep,
for a job.
and we're gonna do the job to the best of our ability. So
That's it. And you guys always do it with a great attitude. Like,
appreciate that.
no,
We
100.
we we might have a little bad attitude on ClearCom, but we don't let you guys see.
Oh, no. I got you. I got you. Well, that's what it is. It's like, hey, between us, it's like, hey, we're the team. We'll say what we need, but like the client though, you need to be professional.
Oh yeah.
That's how they
You
they
can never talk bad of the client, nothing. I mean, they're not they're not doing it out of just, they
yeah.
have hate in their heart just to
No.
make your life a living hell. Like,
They
it's stuff that people don't think about
they have no
because they're not
idea.
in our industry.
No
So
idea what
it's,
they're asking.
you gotta give them a little grace and
Yeah.
try and make it work for them.
Of course, that doesn't excuse like the once in a blue moon you actually get a really asshole-ish client. You put your boundaries up, but in
We
90
have
80
some of
to
those.
yeah, but 90 to 80% of the time they just have no idea what they're asking.
Yep.
And it can be a little straightforward with how they ask it.
Yeah, sometimes they like to think they know and they don't, but
Yeah.
you're not gonna get into it with a client. You just
No.
gotta
You're
nod your
just like,
head and,
mm-hmm.
"Alright,
Yeah.
let's make it work."
I'll let you know when it's up.
Yep.
That's it. Um, oh, 100%. I think, wow, time flew by. I feel like.
Oh, yeah, it has. Jeez.
Look at that. Look at that. But one more thing I would love to ask you, man, is anyone so like you got started off pretty young, but I would say outside of like, how to get started and stuff, like just one thing that you kind of wish you knew earlier on in your career that you came to learn with experience, that you feel like definitely would have helped, or something that, you think would definitely help someone getting on, rather not learn the hard way, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I would've taken, like, a course, and I still can, but it's just crazy because being in it for what, 17 years? Is that 18 years that I've been in this industry? It's you start building habits and in your brain where it's just kind of locked in there.
Yeah.
So I've learned a good bit these past couple of years out of COVID, working with other companies and kind of getting out of my comfort zone of our crew and our gear and all that stuff. But yeah, just the technical side of everything, man. Just of all the specs on stuff. It makes it easier on your mind to think through how something could go wrong if you know all the technical side of everything. I mean, 1080i versus 1080p and all this, what could be doing this, all that. Because I didn't know that until a couple of years ago, to be honest with you. I was still
Mm,
doing camera work and I didn't know progressive versus interlaced and how that can affect a camera, all that kind of stuff. But once you get your hands in on it.
yeah.
And like I've said before in this podcast too, it's a hands-on industry, but you can still kind of get a little bit of knowledge beforehand of kind of the ins and outs of the technical side of it. So it can kind of make it easier on you when you do get your hands on it.
Yeah.
So I would say that, but man, I've with what we do, I've been blessed to be taught by my dad, taught by a lot of good techs, and have a lot of care for the clients. I care for their event just like it's my own event, like I was throwing a business conference, anything like that. Because I want it to, because that's a reflection of us. I want it to look great. Every little thing, the ruffles and the drape, the gaps in the drape, all that stuff. It's something that nobody out there will notice, but I do. So it's got to be fixed
Mm,
because nobody is going to notice it because it's going to be fixed. So it's having that just mindset of it needs to be perfect. A perfect mindset's tough because not everything is perfect, especially in a live event. But if you strive for perfection, if you fall short, you're still gonna be pretty darn close to perfection.
you're
So
pretty good.
if you're just out there kind of whatever, whatever, if you drop the ball on this and that and this and that, now that's just a terrible show.
Yeah.
But if you're striving for perfection and you drop the ball on one little thing, that's still a pretty darn good show, man.
Dude, I love that. 100% love that. Um, we believe in the same thing. It's those little details that no one will perceive, but people feel it.
Yep,
People sense it, you know.
absolutely.
You
And
know.
even when I'm watching TV, I know when there's a miscut. I know
Hmm.
when when something happened and I can hear a mic in the background. I know
Yeah.
all that.
And you see it, it's funny enough, those little details are the ones that go viral on the internet.
Yep,
It's like, oh, they forgot something on the set all the way in the back corner. Is that a water
yep.
bottle in the 1500s?
'Cause
Like
dude, I was
stuff like
watching
that.
a interview and the girl's bra strap was showing. It's
Oh,
like,
man.
how does nobody notice that? You gotta hold on, have whatever
Yeah.
makeup and come in there. You can't have that. It's a CBS interview, and she's
Yeah.
got a bright purple bra strap showing. It's like it's just the attention to detail about everything. You
Yeah.
got to have eyes everywhere to make sure it's striving for perfect.
Yeah, no, 100%. And especially if we're on the recording end on that end, it's like you want to help the client, with
Yep,
those little details because, their head's
because they
not
got
where.
so much going on. Yeah,
Yeah.
they got so much going on that they're not thinking about that.
Yeah, that's why they hired you.
Yep, that's our job.
100%. It's like things they would no average person I think would think about. It's like, oh, let me go. I'm gonna do an interview in an all white room. I should wear my white sweater.
Yeah. Or just have a black backdrop, and I'm just gonna wear a black suit with a black shirt. It's like, if the lighting's not right, that just looks like a floating head on stage. You
Exactly.
gotta have some backlight, you gotta have great wash, all that kinda stuff, or else it looks real weird on screens.
Oh, 100%. And just, it's just, but that's part of our expertise. And
Yep,
that's also the thing that like people don't realize that it's part of the budget. It's part of the value, when you get someone who's actually a professional in this.
absolutely.
That
It's
knowledge
like
is irreplaceable.
yeah, scenics and lights behind it isn't just for the look of it, it's still for the actually, it is for the look of it because it's gonna look good, but it's just for the
Everything's for the
overall
look of it.
yeah, it's overall the how the show's gonna go, and it's gonna look great. If you don't have that, then it just kinda gets muddy and messy.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, it's those little details that really separate something that's like memorable and it's like, yeah, I want this to be almost like cinematic. I want this to be, this level of high end. But they also like, oh, but do we need to have this much of this or that? It's like, do we need like this? Is like, if you cut down on equipment, wouldn't it be like a cheaper package? But then it's like, but you're saying you want this look.
Yeah.
It's like,
If you want this we just did this event for you guys. If you want the same kinda energy and make it memorable, we
yeah.
can't start just cutting all that stuff out because now it's just a drastic drop. It looks like another company came in and did it.
100%. And it's like, it's hard for them to wrap their heads around it sometimes.
Yeah,
But
because they see dollar signs and they see, "Well, do we need this? Do we need this? Do we need this?" It's like, "Just trust us, and you're gonna love what comes out of it."
yeah, I mean,
Because that we wanna make every event memorable. People walk in that room and like, "Oh my gosh, look at this place."
yeah.
That's what we're all about, man.
When they're walking away from that event being like, I was on vacation. I was on another
Yep,
planet for a weekend.
absolutely.
No, and you guys do like I said, fantastic job.
I appreciate that.
So with that, I mean, I want to thank you so much for carving out the time to be on here with us, and right in your own home with your little
Yes,
podcast
sir.
studio set up. I love
Yeah,
it.
this corner of the bedroom, it's a nice setup,
It
man.
looks
Got the
good,
lights and
man.
camera.
You're
Hey,
looking good, man.
it works. Hey,
And
thank you for having me, man. I appreciate you.
yeah, no. So, where can the people find you if they want to follow you or follow Conquest? Reach
Yeah,
out to you
so
guys.
yeah, I mean, I got a bunch of info. We can just pop it on the screens, whatever. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, easiest way is conquest.productions on Instagram. We got conquestproductions.com that has my personal email, Tim's personal email, and as well as just the info at conquestproductions.com. Any general inquiries, all that kind of stuff. My name again is Caleb Neely. That's caleb.neely on Instagram. Yeah, that's the easiest way to find us, man. Instagram and the website, and you'll get us all from there.
Love it, love it. And of course, like with me, you can always follow us at Vision Maker Podcasts on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and such. And then you can also follow me, Victor M underscore Vision Maker, and the company at Vision Maker Productions. So thank you guys. Thank you so much, Caleb, and we'll catch you around next time.